avalanche of help from the media as they did in the Carnahan campaign.
Okay. Last question. Please make it quick, and I'm going to ask our speakers to have their answers be their summation points, please.
We've talked a little bit about media bias, but actually I don't think that's an important issue compared to news censorship. And I'm going to challenge you that you're aware that news censorship is going on. And I'm going to take one story very quickly, and then I challenge you $10,000 that you can't pass a polygraph test that this story is not being censored. And that is that when Ron Brown's body was taken out of the 737, he had an apparent .45 caliber bullet hole in his head, and there's x-rays and photographs of that hole. There's 3 military doctors that have had their careers ruined because they've come forward with those photos and x-rays, and the forensic photographer. Will you accept a $10,000 wager that you cannot pass a polygraph test that that story is being censored? And I had the photographs and the x-rays with me.
No, I don't know anything about it. I haven't examined that story. In fact, I guess I may have heard something about the thesis that... But to use that question as a summation does put me at somewhat a disadvantage.
Someone tried to give me a San Francisco Examiner once for free in a growing game, and I refused it. And this sort of mystified me. Try it again, and I still refused to take it. He says, "Well, why?" And by the way, this is the only person I've ever met in what's called establishment media, what I refer to as pretend media, that had interest in the news. It's a very interesting story what came out of this. So I said, he says, "Why not? Do you think it's biased?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "Worse than biased. It's censored." And this guy, he's the Northern California distribution manager for the San Francisco Examiner. He says, "Censored, you give me one example of censorship by the Examiner." I said, "Sure." I said, "Do you know who Ron Brown is?" And then he was a little bit taken aback by that question. And he says, "Yes, I do." And he says, "They're censoring the x-rays and the photographs of the .45 caliber bullet hole in his head." And this took him back a little bit more. He wasn't the normal trying to avoid the issue excuse thing. And so I said to him, I said, "Would you like to see them?" And he said, "Yes," which surprised me. So I said, "Are you going to be here another 20 minutes? This is in Burlingame, and I was the CEO of a public software company in Burlingame at the time. So I'll go back to my office and I'll get him. So I did. Came back, he was still there, and I showed it to him. And he was interested. He was looking at the photographs, looking at the x-rays, reading the military doctors' reports that they thought he'd been shot, and that they were pressured into covering it up. And while he's reading this, he's slapping it with his hand. And he says, "I knew it, I knew it, I knew it." I said, "What?" He says, "In my heart, I knew that Clinton murdered Ron Brown." And I said, "How can this guy be so..."
My brother was intimately involved with the Ron Brown crash.
It was? Okay.
He was in charge of the wing that flew Ron Brown in.
Okay. But let me finish this, because I was part of breaking the story. So I couldn't figure out why this guy's being so objective. And so I asked him, "Did you know Ron Brown?" And he said, "Yes." He says, "He's a very close friend of mine, and I went on vacations with him." It's because of his friendship with Ron Brown that he was able to overcome the censorship in media. Now, I once confronted Sam Donaldson on this, and I showed it's a 2-minute video. It's queued up here. And
I'm not carrying Sam Donaldson's water. I'm not carrying the Ron Brown story. Ron Brown, you're not blaming me for anything. The Ron Brown story is very complicated and has been fully vetted in a variety of different sectors. And I'm not going down that road with you.
Not at all.
I'm just not. And that is not relevant to Reno. It's not relevant to the Gazette-Journal. So don't play it.
3 military doctors had their careers ruined. The forensic photographer that discovered the bullet hole because they came forward with that information. It's your duty in the newspaper business, if people are trying to uncover corruption in the government, to protect the whistleblowers. That's your duty.
Our duty, you want to see local. We had a situation. What do we do locally? How do we protect your rights? That's really what the issue is. Talk about the Tim Dunn incident. Is anybody familiar with it? What happened to Tim Dunn? Who read the story?
Then
why am I here?
I have a good question. Are you raising my rates with this open thing?
We changed our subscriptions. Yeah, they went up.
They went up? No one asked me if I paid.
You
should have gotten a letter from him.
We sent a letter. We did send a letter. And every day, you make the choice whether you want to subscribe. And every day, our job is to deliver on news and information that's relevant to you for your community. Okay? And if we do that, we'll keep you. And if we don't, then we won't.
Well, can I still get the old rate if I don't take the other parts?
We've changed our subscription model to a full access model, so it's actually just fundamentally different.
Okay. But by the way, there's the photograph and the x-rays and the plane crash. And that information is being censored from the American people. It's that simple. How many people here in a newspaper or the television have ever seen these photographs or x-rays? What? On television or newspaper? No. By yourself. Exactly. This is a problem. This is the lack of credibility right here.
That has been gone through more than once.
It's been totally covered up. Totally covered up.
I'm not.
Okay, let's